Hello Math 6A students. This video is to provide some help for the lessons on factors and multiples. This lesson is in Unit 1. It's one of the first lessons that you come to. And in this lesson we talk about factors and multiples of numbers. Factors are numbers that we multiply together to get to a given number. So if we're talking about the number 6, 6 would have factors of 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. When we talk about multiples, we're talking about taking a given number and multiplying it by 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And we can use those in a number of different real-life settings. On the screen here are some examples. Here is one where Craig is training for a race. He rides his bike and swims in order to do that. He's probably a triathlete and is practicing those two skills. You can see here that they do give you a hint in the problem where they tell you the least common multiple of the numbers of days are these, and they're asking you how many days will pass before he bikes and swims on the same day again. So he's biked today and he swam today. 2 days from now, he's going to bike again. 3 days from now, he's going to swim again. And we want to continue to do that pattern and see when those are going to match up again. So we write down the multiples of 2, the multiples of 3, and we look for the first number that occurs in both of these lists of multiples. You can see that the first number that shows up in both lists is right here. It is the 6 in each of these lists. So the correct answer is, in 6 days, he will bike and swim again on the same day. Here's another example. Maria found the least common multiple of 6 and 15. Here is the work she did to find those. And Maria says that the common multiple is 60. This number right here. It's in both lists. It is a common multiple. That's correct. But is it the least common multiple is the question we need to answer. So let's go back and look at the list and see, is 15 in both lists? No. Is 30 in both lists? Oh, yes it is. Is 45 in both lists? No. But 60 again is in both lists. So 30 and 60 are in both lists. That means 30 and 60 are both common multiples, but the least common multiple is the 30. Here's one other least common multiple problem. And you can see the question is just very simply, what's the least common multiple of these two numbers? Again, we're going to look for the first number that shows up in both lists. And in this case, you can see that 12 is going to be the first common multiple. So the answer to this problem would be 12. Next, we're going to look at a greatest common factor problem. And those problems look like this. We've gotten a bag that has some blueberries. We have another bag that has some grapes. And we're trying to create new snack bags for kids that has an equal amount of blueberries and grapes. And we want to see how many of those we can make. So we look for the factors now of 20. That's all of these numbers, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Those are the numbers we multiply together to get our given number of 20. We do the same thing for 30. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6 are all pairs of numbers that multiply together to give us the given number of 30. So we want to find numbers that are in common. We're looking for factors that are in common, but this time we want the greatest common factor. Remember up here we were looking for the least common multiple, so we were multiplying the given numbers and finding the first number. Here we're looking for the greatest common factor, so we've written the factors of our given numbers, 20 and 30, and we're looking for the biggest number that are in these two lines. So I've color-coded this. You can see ones are in common. There's a 1 factor in each of these lists. 2 is a factor that's in each list. 5 occurs in each list. But the biggest number that's in both lists is 10. So common multiples, we're usually looking for the least common multiple, and we just multiply the given number by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until we finally find numbers that occur in both lists. In the greatest common factor, we take given numbers, factor the number down, show all the different numbers that are factors of 30, factors of 20, and then we find the biggest number that's common to both. Hope that helps you out with that lesson on factors and multiples in the Math 6A course.